Hi, I'm Kimberly Ecklund, the mayor of the city of Jamestown, which is one of the two larger cities in Western New York in the county of Chautauqua. Jamestown is probably as far west in the state as you can get from New York City. So, when you talk about New York, you're from New York. We're as far away from the city life as you can be. However, Jamestown is approximately 28,000 residents, a very big mix of uh, multi-level financial as well as a little bit of a diverse community as far as racial and ethnicity. We definitely have a very strong Spanish-speaking population that is increasing. We have the brown-black community, we have white community, we also have Asian. So we do have some migrants here that are coming from other areas as well. So I would say that, are we the top of diversity? Absolutely not, but we are open to a diverse country and diverse nationality here. Manufacturing has a stigma about it that it's dirty, it's not high tech, it's not challenging. It's I go and do the same thing every day and the same thing for 8 hours a day. I can't do that. And I think we need to really educate people, including adults who may have a career change or may have lost their job and they're looking for something different, that there's opportunity in manufacturing, that there's opportunity for advancement, that manufacturing isn't your low-level pay jobs too, that it can go very high, and you can earn a really great living and also improve yourself through education along the way while you're working there. Personally speaking, 34 years in manufacturing. I think that people need to realize that technology changes, and as technology changes, manufacturing changes. There are some things that are always going to be down dirty manufacturing, but there's also a lot of other avenues that, manufacturers are now much cleaner than they used to be. Robotics are big, but robotics aren't going to come in and take over the individual person doing the job. Someone still has to be trained to program that robotic, to work with that robotic, to work with those things. When you talk about CNC boring machines, someone has to program that machine, has to be technical, has to know math, has to know, science skills on how to run those. Those things are invented every day to improve production and capacity in the manufacturing, but it also develops your workforce much higher. And I think that's imperative. The Dream It, Do It initiative is really changing that tone about manufacturing and trying to also encourage women in manufacturing. I went and spoke at Girls in Manufacturing, which is an initiative out of the Dream It, Do It, trying to get girls more engaged in manufacturing. I mentor at-risk youth, and not all of them are meant to go to college. So we try to gear them towards those manufacturing facilities. We partner with local colleges to get them trained. Doesn't mean you're going to be standing on a line putting something in a box. There's, all CNC work. There's drafting work. There's other things that Girls in Manufacturing is truly a great initiative that's also come out of Dream It, Do It. Not every child is cut out for college, but every child deserves a place to work and not have that stigma with it. One thing I challenged myself to do was to meet with every business in the city before my end of my first year. And I focused first on manufacturing because I thought it would be a little easier coming from manufacturing. I've dealt with a lot of these businesses from my personal life prior to becoming mayor. However, what I did learn is, yeah, I knew a lot about the business, but not really who their customers were, what their need was. There's certainly companies that have a harder time getting workers this day and age. New York State and minimum wage and things like that make it a little more challenging for them with the economic side of it. But there's some companies here that have experienced exponential growth. So they're having a hard time keeping up with their growth and keeping up with the employment levels. I do feel like these visits to these businesses was very important and is still ongoing and is still very important to me. I think we're a city who doesn't realize our potential and doesn't realize what we have here. So I'm very adamant on yes, helping the manufacturers get what they need, but also helping our community understand what's really here. Like you don't have to move 10 hours away to get a good paying job. The cost of living is reasonable here. let's do what we can to get that workforce development up. Let's get people back in manufacturing. Let's grow our manufacturers and let's grow our workforce.